XRP family, welcome back to the Crypto ZX channel. Let's take a look at what's happening with the price of XRP as we are going into Wednesday morning. Looking across the board right now, as we are going into Wednesday morning, we're seeing, I can say, the best day that we've seen in quite some time, where we're seeing actually double digit gains across the board for altcoins specifically. Yes, we need to zoom out still, take a look at the monthly time frame. There's still a lot of red across the board. Even on the weekly time frame, there's still a lot of coins still on the weekly time frame that are still down. But again, yesterday, December 2nd, brought in a lot of excitement, and some people calling it the Vanguard effect, what we talked about last night. But let's take a closer look and see what's happening with XRP, up 9.3%. That's not the most exciting part. You want to watch this video till the absolute end to find out what the exciting part is, which I'll obviously share with you guys in a little bit. But yeah, XRP price up 9.3% with the price currently sitting at $2.20. It's also up 2% on the Bitcoin side of things. Market cap $132.1 billion dollars, and the 24-hour trading volume approaching $5 billion dollars. But as always, just a quick disclaimer, anything on this channel is not financial advice. Always do your own due diligence and research when you are investing in cryptocurrencies. So take a look at the spot volume, $41.16 million dollars. But that's not the most exciting thing in my opinion. The most exciting part is this right here. ETF flows, Bitcoin, Solana, and XRP spot ETF saw net inflows, while Ethereum saw outflows of $10 million dollars. But the most exciting part is that XRP was the biggest gainer when it comes to the inflows yesterday, sitting at almost $68 million dollars. Yes, guys, that is correct. XRP was able to outpace not only just Solana, Ethereum, but Bitcoin itself. And again, this just tells you everything you need to know in terms of where the interest lies right now. With these ETFs, once they were approaching, and right now we only have about 5 to 6 spot ETFs that are live. But once we were talking about when these ETFs go live, it's going to be imminent. We're going to see the major institutional capital and interest flowing in. And we used to always make comparison to what that those numbers are going to look like, whether or not those numbers out the gate are going to look good or not. And boy, has that exceeded a lot of people's expectations. You could see for yourself. Yes, the native token, why is the native token not going up, this and that, yada yada yada. Are we ignoring the broader market? We definitely don't want to be ignoring the broader market. Are we ignoring the last 12 months price action? We definitely don't want to be ignoring that either, because if you look at it from that perspective, XRP is up substantially, one of the best performing assets over the last 12 months. But aside from that fact, these numbers tells you the interest there really is. But now, of course, with Vanguard coming in the picture, again, we're talking about the second largest asset manager globally that is, letting its clientele buy these spot ETFs, and XRP is included on that list. Take a look at what Hunter says. Bank of America, private bank and wealth management, one of the largest in the country, announced it will allow advisors to allocate 1 to 4% to Bitcoin starting in January, so 2026. And guess what happened? You saw the price of Bitcoin breaking out, and there were so many positive news. Obviously, the Vanguard letting their clients you know, get into the ETFs in crypto. That obviously started yesterday. And on top of that, this announcement came back to back, and we saw the market really, really taking, good action based off of this news. But we're going to come back to the price and stuff. But let's take a look at this. The Vanguard effect. Bitcoin jumped 6% right around U.S. Open on first day after Bitcoin ETF, ban was lifted. As we know, they kind of were not, allowing it before, but now they are. And look at it, because why? You might want to ask yourself why. Why now? Why now are they allowing the ETFs to be traded? A reason why is because the interest. Do you think these clients of these big asset managers are not going and saying that they are interested in getting some exposure into some of these ETFs? And here we have it. So again, things we used to dream of a few years back, and that is really becoming a reality right now, which is insane to think of. But take a look at this $13 trillion, the biggest asset manager BlackRock expects tokenization to grow faster than the internet. BlackRock CEO Larry Fink, he says that tokenization is an early internet phase with the potential to transform markets much faster than anticipated. Real world assets has surged 300% in terms of tokenization in the past 20 months, accelerating rapidly. Fink and Goldstein said that one day investors will be able to manage all asset types in one wallet, including stocks, bonds, and digital assets. And reason why we always talk about this when it comes to, XRP updates is, remember, XRP Ledger is that one-stop shop. And that is one thing we want to kind of keep in mind as well. But look at what Smoke says. With Vanguard now opening access to crypto ETFs, there is no better time to bring this back up. Former eToro US CEO said it clearly: digital assets are the first asset class in history that the regular person entered before the institutions. And here you are, the regular person who got in before the biggest players. What this pretty much means is, people that came in early into Bitcoin, XRP, so on and so forth, institutions weren't there. They weren't there beforehand because there were a lot of them that were still sidelined. And now, of course, with the regulatory clarity, obviously bills passing, regulation coming towards crypto industry, crypto seen as an asset class, specifically Bitcoin, along with some of these other utility projects, XRP, Solana, so on and so forth. Now you're seeing that interest coming in, and a lot of these institutions are, pretty much kind of changing their overall tone on the way they treat crypto assets. And what we're seeing happening is a perfect example of that. Take a look at this: 350 million XRP have been locked away in ETFs in a week. In 1 week. Now, what happens? Have 10 weeks. It's not linear. So, like, again, let me know in the comments if in just one single week we've been able to do this. Imagine what happens as time goes by. Very, very impressive stuff. But let's take a look at what's happening with the price. As far as the price is concerned, the dominance, of course, has gone up. We actually retested 59.8% not too long ago. Since then, a little bit of a retracement, but keep the dominance into perspective. With the weight dominance holding the way it is, and you're seeing double digit gainers across the board, that tells you everything you need to know as to how much momentum this specific move really has. Look at what happened with Bitcoin. I've talked about this in the market analysis update if you did end up watching it. You can see for yourself, this move that we saw on November 30th, which was the last day of November, pretty much is a clear indication that it was pure manipulation. Obviously, I've talked to you guys about this before. The liquidation numbers were very, very big. And here we have it. We're back into the 0.50 fib zone. Look where we got stopped out at the line that I've drawn for you guys, which was the resistance at $93,800 price point. We got rejected at that range, as to be expected. But the fact that we're in the 0.50 fib zone, very, very interesting. Is this indeed the start? We'll see what happens. We still need to be looking for confirmation, but the price of Bitcoin is where we need the price of Bitcoin to be. But learn from this major swing. You want to stay away from leverage trading platform because you want to put it into perspective from these, leverage traders. So what I'm trying to say is, imagine you were in the shoes of these leverage traders that were long, which a lot of them got liquidated. Imagine they were bullish, the price to go back to, the 0.50 where we currently are, which we retested not too long ago, that resistance. Imagine they were anticipating that move, but then, you saw this major retracement and their positions got liquidated, and now they're seeing the prices really becoming to reality where they were actually hoping the price to be. So you're better off actually doing your due diligence, research, and actually spot holding rather than leverage trading. This is why I'm against leverage trading platforms. And if you've been following the channel from the beginning, I've been quite transparent with you guys. I don't like naming any specific exchange. If you guys notice, I don't have any sponsors on the channel for a reason. A lot of exchanges reach out to me. A lot of big exchanges that, have also reached out to me to, offer me good incentives. But again, I'm not doing it because I am against leverage trading platforms and I will never promote that. And that's, my word. And no matter which dollar amount that comes on the table, I would never do it. That's how much I'm against leverage trading. So one thing I would suggest you guys to do is look into it and learn about it, like how highly manipulated it could be. And just stay away from it. That's one thing I can tell you to do, for leverage trading, because again, I've had my fair share. I know people could say, well, your crypto ZX, over time you could learn and this and that. Well, with leverage trading, with the volatility that the crypto markets has, with the major manipulation that can occur, these types of swings can actually have a big impact on the price. I'm not saying people don't make money off of leverage trading, but again, in a grand scheme of things, it's better spot holding, and I think it's less stressful as well if you've done your due diligence research. Again, look at it from the Bitcoin perspective. At least you would have still had your BTC. At least you would have had your BTC still, even though you did see this major, swing, obviously like this pullback, flash pullback, you would have still had your Bitcoin. So again, that's one thing I want you guys to kind of keep in mind. But as far as XRP's price is concerned, can see, we came up to $2.21, pretty much back into this accumulation pattern that we were pretty much in. Again, baby steps. You don't expect, the price to just get back into the 38.2 overnight. We're looking good, especially with the way the dominance is holding. Dominance is much higher than, where we were around this time, which a lot of people are forgetting. And yet the price of XRP is at $2.20. Yes, that's something you want to factor in. And that's why we talk about these key metrics. So far, so good. Like what I'm seeing here. Let me know in the comments down below what you guys think. As far as the confirmation is concerned, for the overall reversal, you guys know I'm waiting for $100,000. After, of course, the wave was completed. You guys know I'm targeting, $100,000. If that is able to reclaim, I think, we could start looking good, especially as we are going into the new year's. We'll see what happens. Obviously, we're going to take it one step at a time. Let me know in the comments what you guys personally think. And yeah, we'll see you later. It's been Crypto ZX and peace.